Hello Reds, welcome along to All for United.
Hey Reds from around the world, welcome to All for United. I'm your host Joe Neal, and I'm welcoming, I don't know for the first time, but he's here now for the first time with me, unofficial pundit. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, super swell. Thanks so much for joining us. Do you have some sort of disco going on in your background?
Oh, it's the TV. It's the TV in the background.
What are you watching? Because it's giving me epilepsy watching it off your face.
I'll turn the big light on. Give me a second.
Oh, yeah, go for it. Look, that's a bit of festive cheer, maybe. I don't know. But we're here. We are reacting to, first of all, we're going to get the guys' opinion on the fact that we have a Champions League final with two English teams. And then we're going to be discussing in great depth the basically what Ollie said, that the Glazers apologise. Do you believe him? Do you not? What are your thoughts on that in general? The fact that we have, was it 4 games in 7 days? Which is not us getting deducted points, but it's us getting deducted points, I think, in some ways, because we're going to drop points over that. And also our thoughts on Peter Schmeichel as well. Callum, you have a bit of background noise going around, okay, as well. I just muted you there, so we didn't get your little giggle after we mentioned Peter Schmeichel. But yeah, we're going to...
Is it still on now, Joe? There's absolutely no noise in here.
Stop for a second. No, that's fine. I don't know what it was. I just muted you and it went, so it's all good now anyway. It was just a bit of background noise. I'm not sure what it was. But so we're not going to focus in on anyone in particular here, but there is an all-English final. Chelsea just went through. So Chelsea against City. I'll be honest, okay. From watching that game, even though I did not want Chelsea to win prior to the 2 legs, but there was no way in hell Real Madrid are beating Man City. There's just no way. So I think, even though I would prefer not to be an English final so I can support the other team, I'm happier kind of being on Chelsea's side for this one game, because they're the only team I think that can, other than us, as we've proven, that can beat City in the final. Would that be a consensus across the round table?
Yeah, I agree with that. Completely.
I think so. I think Guardiola will be a bit pissed off tonight. I think he was banking on Real Madrid getting through, but they didn't show enough over the 2 legs. To win a semi-final, you got to show enough. And Chelsea at the minute are on a bit of a hot streak, and I fancy him to do City. To be fair, I really do.
Yeah, me too. And I think there's a big worry now. Like, this is a more general football chat that we'll get off of eventually. But I think I get your thoughts in the comments as well. But I think this is going. I think the Spanish decline has begun and it's going to last for a generation. I think they're going to go the way of Italy. I think it's going to end up just being English teams dominating with a German team every so often and PSG. I think it's going to get even more insular European football going forward. So I don't know if this is a good sign, but it means we might get to a final every so often, which would be nice, I guess. Yeah, but anyway, enough of talking about Shitty and Chelsea. We're here to talk about the only team in England and in the world that really matters, which is, of course, Manchester United. And today, I didn't get to see the press conference. I don't know if anyone here has. John Kermode's there. Thanks so much for joining, John. Pains me to say, but I am glad Chelsea reached the final. It shows the strength of the Premier League. It's a tight game. Tuchel has been sacked by PSG. May and come back to haunt them. Absolutely, yeah, that's dead right. And John there, and evening, lads and lasses. Absolutely, thanks so much. But we're here to talk about Ollie's comments. He, of course, said that the Glazers, he didn't mention which one, rang him to apologise for what I don't know the details of what he even said he apologised for, but he rang him to apologise. I don't know who has got into this in depthly, but get your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe, guys, especially subscribe to the channel. But Stu, I'll come to you first. What are your thoughts on what Ollie's been saying today in his pre-match conference?
Well, I didn't get a chance actually to listen or read what he said, but I've seen little snippets. I've seen bits and pieces on Twitter. Look, I've always thought any manager of any football club It's not necessarily Ollie. It's any manager of any football club is in a pretty difficult position. You're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. And it's a little bit worse for Ollie at the minute because if he comes out and goes against the Glazers, his job's at risk. It's his dream job. He's always wanted to manage Man United, and he's fulfilling his dream, isn't he? And so I think in today's press conference, if we're all being honest, I don't think he had that much of a choice. I think he probably put it the best way he could. I would imagine from a playing point of view and the players' feedback to him, his comments about the protest, again, that's not something I'm too surprised about because what it has done is disrupt. Just forget all the goings on and the shenanigans about the protest and the Glazers, etc. We know what we all want in that. We've all got that common goal on that. But if you're looking at it purely from a football point of view and from a football manager's perspective, it's disrupted Ollie's plans for the final piece of the season. Look, tomorrow night, as we spoke last night, is pretty much, and I'm going to say a foregone conclusion. I cannot see Roma turning us over 5-0. It just won't happen. So I think once we've got over that, Ollie's got a real problem next week now because we've got 3 very difficult games in a short space of time. And he's going to have to utilise his squad to the fullest. The main issue with that is that a lot of the squad haven't played football, haven't played 90 minutes. Now, I would imagine a lot of the panel would consider that most of our squad is fit enough to take 3 games in, well, there's 2 games in 50 hours, isn't there, from what I could work out, the 11th and the 13th, against 2 very good teams. I think he's got a lot of head scratch, and I can't imagine he's happy about that. So, and I think you're right, Joe. They can't dock us points. There was no legal reason for them to dock us points because the game was cancelled due to safety issues. And so they had to punish it in some way, and I think they've done it. So, for me, Ollie's in a bit of a difficult position. Nothing that I've read I'm too surprised about.
Yeah, 100%. Andrew, coming to you now. I don't know how in-depth you look into the comments, but even after what Stu said, what we've been saying, the fact that he's come out and said the Glazers are apology, is that enough for you? Does that mean anything to you, or are you expecting more if you expected anything?
Yeah, so I've read the comments Ollie's made. I know he said he's had the apology from the Glazers and then said, the Glazers apologised to the fans. Well, that statement from Joel Glazer was just a measly statement saying, "Oh, we're sorry. We'll start communicating better." I know Ollie is in a difficult position, and as he said, his focus is on the football and getting those players prepared for the game. I mean, for like tomorrow night, hopefully he can rest some of the players because of this rearranged fixtures against Liverpool's night within the space of 2 days of the Leicester game. So it's difficult for him, but the Glazers, they've never communicated once since it's the 16 years they've been with us. I don't think they're going to start doing it now. So I know Ollie said, well, there'll be better communication coming, but at the moment I don't see it. So I hope there is, but you just never know.
You never know. And the thing is, it's not like with at least with Liverpool owners, what's his name? Henry came out and actually did a video. No matter what you can say, it was clearly read off a teleprompter. It was really absolute bullshit. But at least he saw his face, you saw his mouth move instead of just saying no comment. You know what I mean? And I think it's absolute bullshit as well. But coming to you next, do I call you unofficial pundit? Can I call you Mr. Unofish or P?
Some people call me UP, whatever. Listen, anything.
Okay, can I call you? I'll figure something clever. But just for the moment, Mr. Unofficial Punditi. Okay, that was the worst one. I'll think of something better. What are your thoughts on all these comments?
I just think Ole's in a difficult position. He can't say what he wants to say. When you hear people say, "Oh, but Ole should," no. If he does that, he loses his job. And listen, no one wants to lose a Man United job. Let's be totally honest. No one wants to lose that job. So, for me, he's got to be careful. I've seen people saying that they don't think he got an apology. I can't see why he would lie. Makes no sense. He can, if he doesn't want to, even if you're asked the question, have you had an apology? He can avoid it. There's ways of doing that. I can't get why the fans would pick now out of the last 11 years. The last time they done a protest like this was in 2010. You didn't do it when Moisey was there. You didn't do it when Mourinho didn't get the players he should have in that third summer. You've chosen to do it now when we've got to a final. All people have been talking about is Man United can't get to finals. Manchester United can't get to finals. Ole's now done that. We know the squad's already thin. Imagine we get injuries now with the games we have to play in the space of 2 days. That could hamper us in the final. Because I think it will be Arsenal. And we struggle to beat Arsenal at the moment anyway. I'm not sure why. Now, the Glazers ain't going nowhere. So will it have been a good thing? For me, I really don't think so. I don't think this protest will come out as being a good thing. The media use it just to show the 100 people out of the 10,000 that were causing trouble, which doesn't help. If I'm somebody who's really rich and I'm looking at this, with all the things that's going on at United and I'm seeing the stadiums not great, I'm hearing facilities might not be the best, and now I'm seeing fans break in and smash things up. Fans are clearly not happy. Am I going to want to spend $4 billion plus? Because you might have to buy the club for $4 billion, but then you're going to have to spend maybe $500 million or $1 billion doing everything else and buying players. I think fans need to think about it more than just thinking, oh, you know what, we can protest and they'll sell up. It's not that easy. Do I want the Glazers gone? Yes, of course I do, because I think they could have done so much more, and they haven't. But then sometimes I think about it and think, do you know what? I want the 50+1. If we can't get that, I'm not sure. Do you want another owner? How do we know they'll be great? Because at the end of the day, Man United, the difference with Manchester United and the difference with City was when City wasn't a global brand, they were nothing. They're trying to build City to be the global brand that Manchester United are. Now, being that global brand has helped us over the years attract players, have the money to get players. But listen, with all good, you have bad as well. And that's one of the bad things. Being such a big global brand, you're going to have owners that are going to think, do you know what, this is a business where I can make money rather than love the club. I can't. Everyone on the panel, because anyone see someone coming along with $4 billion and saying, yeah, bang, I'm going to buy Manchester United because I love football. I love the club. I don't see it, guys. I really don't. And I think Ole's hands are tied as to what he can say when he comes out and speaks as well. There's only so much he can say. He's the man. He's the manager. He's got to be smart in what he says, unless he wants to lose his job, which I doubt he does.
I'm just going to go straight to Callum with that. And how do you react to what everything Unofficial Pundit just said there? Are you on the same boat, or do you find holes in his logic?
I don't think I agreed with a single thing you just said then, mate, if I'm honest. Why now? Because they try to ruin English football. Why now? Because they try to take us out of a competition so vital to our history. Why now? Because they try to enhance their wealth at the expense of Manchester United. That's why now. And the reason why we protest is to get rid of them. So if you want them out, protest. I found myself a little speechless at a lot of the stuff he said then. I'm sort of trying to process it, to be honest. Why now? I would take losing the Europa League final and not being in the Champions League for the duration of the Glazers' ownership if it meant they were to leave. Them people in charge of our club are more of a damage to English football than Manchester United than a minority being silly in a stadium. So regardless of throwing a camera or whatever happened, those people are still the biggest damage to English football, and they try to damage English football as a whole. And we've been saying for years that they do this, and finally they have. And the idea that we haven't protested, we did protest when Moyes was there. We did protest when Mourinho was there. The only reason why this is highlighted so much is because of the sheer volume and the fact that we've just postponed the biggest game in English football. That's why it's so highlighted right now. It made worldwide news, for God's sake. I can't believe it. Yeah, there's not a lot of people who can buy the club. But good God, surely there's a lot of people better than the current ownership. And regardless if we can get it in, if we can get a 50+1 model or fans on the board or anything, like looking at Musk's statement, anything at the moment will be better than the Glazers. Yeah, there's an inherent problem with billionaires, but that's a political problem that, unfortunately, in the society we live in, they're always going to exist. Until that is solved, that's well beyond football. And we get the idea of billionaires being evil and, exploiting people. But the Glazers literally came into this club and used a bank to leverage the club, and they've spent £1.1 billion financing the debt. City's owner has spent £1 billion on the club. So quite frankly, we protest for these reasons, not because we're not winning anymore. All those arguments were completely redundant. I'm a little flabbergasted at that one then. I don't know your name, mate, but anyway.
Yeah, I think like the issue of trying to find a billionaire, like Arsenal found one within like a week of doing a protest. You know what I mean? That is interested in fundamentally wanting to buy the club. And the thing is, okay, United is obviously more expensive, and 2 billion. Like if someone can afford 2 billion, maybe they're able to afford 4 billion, maybe they're not. But like the fact is, if we hurt the Glazers where they want, because I think they're openly saying they have no interest in selling. If your man from Spotify coming in, maybe there's rumours going behind the scenes where he could be more open to selling. And Arsenal are failing as well. United are getting Champions League football. So for the fact that we're hitting them where that hurts with the advertising, with them losing the Liverpool game, it would make other billionaires like who would be interested in buying come in and go, well, if I take care of this club properly, there's a huge amount of opportunity to make profit in it, but it's also a huge loyal fan base that will be willing to get behind me every single step of the way. So I think it's a win-win for someone to come in to buy the club, but it's a lose for the Glazers no matter what they do, unless they sell up, because no one wants them around anymore, I think is the idea of what we're going for. Do you want to make another comment on Official Pundit or on what was said?
Yes, I do.
Cool.
Firstly, if somebody's going to come in and spend 4 billion without borrowing that money, because that's what billionaires do. Let's forget the City guy. He's got more money than I think his next 1,000 generations will be able to spend. Number two, like I said, he bought a club that was nothing. He's still trying to get them to be what Manchester United are. City are nowhere near worth what we are, and that's why he spent that money. Number two, with Manchester United, so if somebody comes in, you think they're not going to borrow this money, you think they're going to pay cash out of their own pocket. Well, let me explain to you how long it's going to take for them to get their money back. Not see a profit. Forget seeing a profit ever from Manchester United. Just to get their money back, it's going to take about 50 years. No billionaire does that. They don't put 4 billion plus into a business. It's going to take them 50 years. Football might not be around in 50 years. We don't know what the world will be like in 50 years. No one knows what will go on in the next 50 years.
Okay. Just hold on for 1 second. But if someone buys the club, they'll have a huge amount of money coming in every single year. Why would anyone buy a football club if that's the case? If you're looking for profit in 50 years, like these people can afford.
Why would you give a shit about profit?
Because
and just on your quick point now, mate.
You can go
Google search.
You can go and buy a small.
One second. Let's go for it, Callum.
Just a quick Google search. United are worth $4.2 billion. City are worth $4 billion. So they are close to United in terms of value.
Yeah.
So that point surely doesn't make sense. Also, football will be around in 50 years. It's been around for centuries, so it will be. Yeah, another point is, if you are a multi-billionaire, do you give a shit about profit, really?
And like
a billionaire buying a football club, it's almost like having a toy. It's like having a fancy toy. It's like a collection. Don't really think they care about profit. And also, with the way football's going now, Man United earn 500 million quid a year. If that remains stagnant for the next 50 years, it's not going to take 50 years to make the money back. So I don't quite understand that point either.
Yeah, I think we're just going to keep moving on, because I think a lot of stuff has just been said that has been quickly rebuted, and there's no point in going back on it. Unless the two guys want to make a point on what has been said.
Well, I'll just make one point. I mean, Carl's right about City, but City's valuation is mythical anyway. Yeah. Half of City sponsors Sheikh Mansour owns. It's a mythical valuation for City, and everybody's put that on it. the problem with buying our club is that many people will see it as a business, and if somebody's going to fork out 4 billion, and it will take 4 billion because of, in fact, actually, it's going to take about 4 billion. The Glazer will probably walk away with 2.5 billion on that, because everything else it'll be debts and bankers' fees and things like that. So when you look at the size of money that's involved, you look at the only way that it can be raised, it'll be via a consortium of billionaires, and unfortunately they're going to want a slice. That's the problem. People won't invest 4 billion quid and not see a return. That's the problem that we've got. Unfortunately, the figures just don't add up for a business not to see some kind of return. And that, unfortunately, is down to Martin Edwards in 1991 when he floated us. As soon as we were floated, we were just begging for somebody to buy us, It's always going to happen. As soon as you're on the stock market, you're able to buy shares. The B Sky B deal was only kicked out by the Monopolies and Mergers Commission because Sky had a vested interest in the Premier League. That's the only reason that was kicked out. Anyone could have bought shares at that time because the voting stock and the share stock was just standard Class A shares. Once the Glazers went public with it on the New York Stock Exchange, they killed the voting rights. And that's the problem. You can still buy shares, but you can only buy Class A. You can't buy Class B, which is the voting rights shares. And here is another issue with the 50+1. They own the voting rights shares. They own the shares for voting. So it's going to be very, very, very difficult, even with legislation, for them to relinquish the voting shares. It's a very, very difficult and toxic situation that we find ourselves in as a club.
Yeah.
And I don't quite know what the answer is. They might not even sell it for. It might take 5 billion quid. It's such a tough call. This is.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is.
Sorry, can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Callum, you said Manchester United made 500 million last year. Was that pure profit?
You're muted, Callum.
No, it was revenue, but we're still making profit.
No, my friend. Revenue and profit are two different things. Completely different. There's businesses out there that make 40 million revenue, but at the end of it, they've only made 1.1 billion profit. 1.1 million profit. There's a huge difference, astronomical. And you sound like a pretty smart guy, so you must know the difference. And at the moment, if I'm a billionaire owner and I'm looking at Manchester United, the fans are moaning about the Glazers taking a dividend. If I'm a billionaire owner, I'm looking at it and thinking, well, the Glazers bought Man United for this. They turned them into that. No matter, billionaire owners and billionaires don't care about what a bunch of fans think. They want to make money. That's what they're in the game for. That's why they're billionaires. That's why there's only a handful of billionaires in the world. Everyone ain't a billionaire. Most people ain't even millionaires. They're going to look at Manchester United and think, well, the Glazers bought them at this with money they borrowed. They've now turned them into a club worth more than 4. And in that process, won a load of trophies. No matter how much fans moan, we've won a load of trophies in that process. That's good business. Now, if I was a billionaire, I'd be sitting there thinking, well, who's out there in the market that I can do this with that don't cost that much? Then I'll look at what they paid for City and think, wow, they paid that for City, and now City's apparently worth that, which we know is not true. There's no way Man City, who can't even fill their stadium, is worth 4 billion. I don't care what anyone tells me. I couldn't give a shit. If not even close. There's no way they've even got a quarter of the fans we've got around the world. So it's not even close. But we'll get past that. That's what I would want to do if I was a billionaire owner. I wouldn't want to come in and buy Manchester United that looks like it's in absolute turmoil and about to get to a final and are second in the league with such a depleted squad. But half of their fans hate their manager. The other half of the fans hate half the players, despise them. The club's falling apart. They're ready to protest now that the team's in a final. Mate, I wouldn't want to touch Manchester United. I'll be honest with you. We would, because we love United. So if we had 4 billion, we'd go and buy United. But there's a reason why none of us have 4 billion, because we would go with our emotions rather than with sense.
I think the issue, what you brought up there, is that half the fans are against this and half the fans are against that. But it doesn't take much to unify them. It doesn't take much to have all 400 million fans on your side and to maximize profit even more by them all investing in the club and get rid of the protests. And that's by investing in the club. It's not difficult. Like the amount of the Glazers are making now by robbing the money from the club is very easily turned around, and it's very easy to make far more money from that. If you actually invest in the club, you get far more from it rather than doing nothing and taking 20 or whatever it is a year.
Yeah, but I'm sorry to tell you, if you buy something, don't care if you borrowed the money. That means they had good enough names to do it. Because otherwise, why don't us 5 go and borrow the money and buy Manchester United tomorrow? Because we can't. So if you can borrow that money and buy something, you now own it. So whatever you do with it, has Man United grown in wealth? I'm not going with feelings. I don't like the Glazers. Just so everyone knows. I'm just talking about how people would look at it and the truth. Has United grown as a club in price, in value, in size?
Well, we've grown and we've fallen. We've grown and we've fallen. Don't forget. But like, we've grown. Every single club has grown. Okay, we've grown massively because they've only cared about outside investment. Okay, but we haven't grown as a club since Alex Ferguson left. All right, and over the past couple of seasons, we've fallen down in price as well. Liverpool have overtaken us. Other teams are overtaking us. And if someone comes in and they see the time to maximize profit is by investing into the club, they can see they can make far more money than they can when we've been failing over the last couple of seasons. That's why it's always a fantastic investment to put money into Man United like that, and that's just a fact. But we're going to keep going because we have loads of people here who haven't said a word in a couple of minutes, and it's called the Wall of Reds, not the 2 Pillars of Reds. So we're going to touch on what was else we said we talk about. Peter Schmeichel seems to be everyone has turned against him, which is myself and Callum briefly discussed. Thank you, Stuart. I knew you were a good one, Stuart, as soon as I saw you.
I love him. He's my man, Schmeichel. He's my man.
Yes. So you've kind of given away what you're going to feel about now. So for this one, I'm going to start with Callum. Callum, what are your thoughts on what Schmeichel has said, and has it affected his legacy, do you think?
Are we on meeting now, are we? I mean, he has. He has when he did a cartwheel at Main Road when City beat us. He has when he said he wanted to retire at Man United and then returned to England and then went to Manchester City after Villa. He has when he comes out and says that we're supposed to work with the Glazer family. Well, we tried to do that for 16 years and they've not communicated with us once. So he has ruined his legacy. His time at Manchester United was amazing, but you could say the same for Paul Ince. And Paul Ince completely ruined his legacy as well. So I'm not having this narrative that he hasn't, because he just has, in my opinion. I don't see how he can be classing himself as a legend when he seems to constantly go against the fans. He seems to show himself as such an out-of-touch guy, and it's quite frustrating to see someone who was so vital to Manchester United's success in the 90s. Unfortunately, he seems to just say the wrong thing too many times at this point. I mean, this man wanted the director of football job. Ridiculous. He's not my guy anymore, unfortunately.
Callum, thanks for mincing your words as per usual. Sorry,
I'm still researching this profit thing from a few minutes ago.
That's no problem. We'll leave you there to do your homework, okay? We
did make a profit, by the way.
Yes, we did make a profit. I know we made a profit.
Quite a large one.
Yeah, his legacy ended when he headed to the City. Absolutely. Uno Official punditry. For yourself, what are your thoughts on Schmeichel, and has he ruined his legacy?
I'll be honest with you, I love Schmeichel. I really do. Not only because I was born in Denmark and can speak fluent Danish. I just love everything he did when he was at United. I've heard stories of the reason why he left was because they wouldn't give his son a chance, which looks like it was a big mistake because his son's a good goalkeeper and went on to win the Premier League. Playing for City, yeah, does hurt a little bit, but listen, everyone's entitled to their comments. This is what I don't get with United fans. If I come out and say something about Bruno tomorrow, I'll get abuse and you should stick by the players. But I've seen them same fans absolutely tear into Anthony Martial. Absolutely tear into him. I've seen those same fans who are hating on Schmeichel now used to hate Neville but now suddenly love him because he's come out and spoke out. Neville's only spoke out because he doesn't want the Premier League to die, because if the Premier League dies, he might as well turn Salford into a strip club, because it won't be worth the money he's hoping to get from them when they go into the Premier League, which he's hoping they do. So Neville's got his own agenda like everyone else does. Jamie Carragher, I've seen United fans big him up. All of a sudden, Jamie Carragher has his own agenda. FSG was meant to be the best thing since sliced bread 6 months ago when they were Premier League champions, or 12 months ago. All of a sudden, he hates them. But for me, yes, Schmeichel's a legend. I don't care what anyone says. I love Schmeichel. I'll tell you why he's the biggest legend for me is because when I hear him talk on TV, he says us when he's talking about United. Everything's us. And that means in his heart, he's a United supporter. So, yeah, he's a legend for me. I don't care what anyone says.
Okay, I think Paul Pott was a Man United supporter as well. So, as long as someone's Man United supporter, they can get away with whatever they want, apparently. That's cool. Andrew, for yourself, does Schmeichel's words, do they make you think less of him or more of him, or what are your thoughts?
I still think him a legend, and for an all-time United 11, I'd still put him in there. To some of his points, I can agree with. I mean, this is an incredible opportunity now to change the direction of the club. We have to keep fighting for this club. I mean, we say we have every right to ask questions about our clubs being run, and we want more communication from the Glazers and even Woodward, but we've not had it in the last 16 years, and which has left us so frustrated and angry. I mean, we're not asking for every detail to be known. Obviously, some things have to be kept confidential within the club, but I mean, Ed Woodward gave an interview a couple of years ago saying we need to communicate better. Well, there's been no communication ever, so I mean, it's with Schmeichel. I say what is the right way or the wrong way to protest. I mean, there's the few idiots that will say, well, on Sunday that overstepped the mark, but let's say the majority of the way they did us all proud. They were protesting. It's just striking that balance. It's just,
yeah, absolutely.
It's one of those. I mean, it's
a tough one.
Yeah. Where do we go from here? It's just no one knows quite.
Andrew, I think that should be your catchphrase. I think we finally found Andrew Wall's catchphrase. Where do we go from here? Because it's a point you always make so wonderfully, and it's one that kind of sums up every conversation we have. But where do we go from here? But Stu, you've been nodding your head like a wonderful Jack in the Box. Why do you still have a Schmeich Wrexham? That's the best way I can put erection and Schmeichel together.
Yeah, I mean, look, the guy is probably United's all-time greatest goalkeeper. I'm not a goalkeeper. I've never played in goal. I wouldn't like to, but some of the saves. I mean, he was 12 points a season for us. And I always think you should consider an ex-player for what he did on the pitch and not what he does off the pitch. He's no longer associated with Man United anymore. He's not an ambassador, but he feels part of the club. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again now. There is some very, very short memories in the fan base out there that say Schmeichel went to City, which he did. But everybody forgets that Dennis Law put us down in '74.
Yeah.
And everybody loves Dennis Law. So, there's a lot of hypocrisy out there. You can't treat one ex-player that played for City differently to anyone else. And we all know the high esteem that Dennis Law is held by, and rightly so. But the thing about it for me is Schmeichel on the pitch was brilliant. He was an absolute born leader. Bruce and Pallister. I know I've seen the Tybee one.
Yeah, I have to give you Cardick's question. Tybee wants a word, Stu. How many man-match performances does Schmeichel have at Anfield on his debut? Debut now, Stu. Now, come on.
Yes, Karthik. He's got me there. Nice one, Karthik. But I've lost my school of thought now. What was I talking about?
It was under a shite, so you're okay.
To be fair, Joe, it usually is, isn't it? Usually is.
It was Law, and it was people who went to City and played for United as well and stuff like that.
So Jockey 551, Dennis Law put a back heel in, put us down in '74. He was playing in the game, so
Dennis Law didn't relegate us.
I know, no, technically, look, he thought that goal did. He thought that goal did.
He did.
Because there was other results that made it happen as well, but we were relegated anyway.
He did.
A win wouldn't have saved us because of all the results. So Dennis Law didn't relegate us, really.
Yeah, but Dennis.
Okay, he didn't keep us up though either.
Hold on. Dennis Law played for City in that match. He scored against City in that match. We went down after that game. Well, it's an irrelevance whether you're relegated or not. We're looking at Schmeichel, an ex-player. We're looking at Dennis Law, an ex-player. Both played for City. The only thing is Schmeichel never scored against us.
What's it? Yes, Cardick. I've rattled him, gone 1-0 up, and he's lost train of thought. Up to Taibbi rounds, absolutely.
He has. I can see Taibbi now. God,
what a game that was. I remember that so well. 99. He was utter. Even though he made a mistake to let the goal in, he was utter shy for the rest of it. Callum. I gave you this person, okay? When we were discussing this on Twitter the other day, I just want to know your thought. Now he spells the name wrong, but didn't Andy Cole play for City after United as well?
Yep.
He did, didn't he? Actually, yeah. Yeah, but again, Andy Cole didn't cartwheel in front of the main road.
But he didn't play in a game. He didn't play in a side that beat us. Do you know what I mean? If he had scored against us, we have no idea whether he would have celebrated or not. He celebrated against Newcastle after he played when he scored against them for United. So
it's all if put some maybes out though, really, wasn't it?
Here we go. We got him. We got him on the ropes. We got 10 now.
I'm already on the ropes. Karthik's done me, hasn't he? Karthik's finished me.
He really has. Yeah, Karthik has really done me. A lot of people are doing Joe Fischel pundit in the comments as well. They're not too happy with your Salford comparisons and stuff like that as well. But
it's
I suppose
Salford. It's not Salford. It's Salford.
Okay, all right, Callum. This isn't my natural language. Okay, your people invaded me 800 years ago and forced this in front of me. Okay, so if I mix anything up, it's technically your fault. Okay. I'm trying to think of what else we had on the table. Oh yeah, how did we think Ollie's been dealing with this whole scenario? Because he's in a unique position, we can say, compared to anyone else. In as like the other managers, it isn't as intensely out of how much the fans hate the owners. You know. So how do you believe that he's been dealing with this? Whatever rating you can give out of 10 or just go into discussion. Stuart, I'll go to you first. How do you think Ollie's been dealing with all of this?
Well, I don't really know how he's supposed to deal with it, to be honest. It's like I said before, I think it's a really tough position for any football manager of any club when fans are against the owners or there's fan debates, there's fan protests, etc. Ollie's there to look at the football side. We don't know how the players were affected on Sunday. We don't know how they're feeling right now, but they've got to get on with it. They've got to tuck the skirts in and they've got to get on with it Thursday night. They've got to get on with it Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday. And then is it Sunday again? Is it against Fulham? So they've just got to get on with these games. So, yeah, I don't really know how he's supposed to react, really. You don't bite the hand that feeds you, I'm afraid. As wealthy and as Ollie's likely to get another job if he does move on at some point. You just don't bite the hand that feeds you. So I think it's such a difficult question to answer. So
I'm just going. Sorry, there's a report in that we have to go to Callum for immediately. Sorry, this is just straight in from 2003, and it turns out Andy Cole scored 1 goal against us for Blackburn in the League Cup semis in 2003. And word is, he did, in fact, celebrate. He did, in fact, celebrate. It can be confirmed. It's from John Kermode himself. So, Callum, where can we go to you for a comment on that?
Wanker. Never liked him.
There it is. We've been soundbited. Sorry, Jesus, 800 years. Absolutely. What's this? Anyone remember? Sorry, Gareth just came in. Anyone remember CR7's mad volley at Old Trafford for Juve? Celebrate? No, they celebrate in the Juventus. That was in the not in the San Siro. That was in Turin, and he did celebrate because it was a deadly goal. In fairness to him, and like he kind of gave a salute to the fans as well. I don't give a shit if players celebrate against us anyway. Like they play for a different club. Anyway, Andrew, going to you now, my man. How do you think Solskjaer has been dealing with this? And see, can you fit your catchphrase in as well?
I think Ollie's handled it well. Okay, I mean, you just got to handle the footballing side of things. I mean, for the next week or so, we've got 4 games in 7 days. He's going to have to utilise the whole squad and get them prepared for all those games. I mean, with those players that are not been playing regularly, they're going to have to come in and do a job as well. I mean, I'm just thinking the next 2 league games against Villa and Leicester, I think we should just go for it, and because we only need another 6 points to secure a Champions League qualification. But I know with the Liverpool game 2 days after Leicester one, you want our first team 11 out there and winning that game and denting their hopes of Champions League football. So it's a balancing act for him. So he's doing all right, but I just don't want him, any of our players to end up getting injured over this. But there was nowhere realistically that Liverpool fixture could be fitted in anywhere. I mean, the Premier League weren't going to allow us to finish it after the season ended. I mean, they did. Was it 5 years ago when we had that
Bournemouth game? But that was the last game of the season.
The bomb hoax, and they said, "Well, you're gonna have to play it." But then there was talk of the Liverpool West Brom game, the 16th, being moved along, and then we could fit that in there. But I don't think it was going to be possible. So it was just. It's going to be a busy run in, which United have been used to when we've been chasing down trophies. So it's not nothing new to the club. So just hope we can get through it and then to that Europa League final and the trophy.
And as Kardik says, we'll soon be Europa League champions of the world, Joseph. Absolutely. Yeah. That'll show them all. You don't say FA Cup champions of the world, do you, Callum? You can't say that sentence, can you? But Joe Official pundit, what are your thoughts? How do you think Ollie's been doing handling this whole situation? Will I tell him he's muted?
Sorry,
there we go.
on mute there.
You were muted. It's okay, no problem.
10 out of 10 for me. I think he's handled it like a proper manager should. What can he realistically do? I've said it before. What can he really realistically come out and say? He's dealing with it the best way he can. He's probably absolutely gutted that he has to play this many games now. We don't exactly have the squad for it. We don't have anywhere near the squad for it. And unfortunately, if we lose a couple of players for this Europa League final, we'll only have ourselves to blame, and not Ole. But he will get the brunt of it on Twitter. He will, and social media. He will get the brunt of it. He loses any of these games. Do you know what? He can go and lose to Liverpool. He can put a second team out there if we even have one, and lose to Liverpool, and he'll still get abused for it. But he will just handle it the way he does. He doesn't say too much. He's very clever with his words, and that's what I like. It's better than the way Jose used to be. He used to just talk absolute shite.
Yeah, absolutely. Callum, for yourself, how would you think our manager's been dealing with all this situation?
Yeah, I think Stu said it before. It's a bit of a difficult position that he's put himself, that he's been put in, I should say. He's probably he's handled a lot of things perfectly well as Man United manager. Pogba, Shaw, all those kind of players. He's handled this brilliantly as well. He's not exactly going to come out and slate them. But I mean, because he can't do. When can you ever come out and publicly slate your bosses? I'm sure we'd all like to do that at some stage in whatever career you're in. But it's really tough for Ollie because you can tell he's a fan who does want to say things. He was obviously against the Glazer ownership in 2005. I don't believe for 1 second that he was personally apologised to. I think he sort of has to say that. If it had beat around the bush and didn't answer the question, it'd have been obvious and everyone would have picked up on it. So I think he's handled it brilliantly, and unfortunately he's sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place, I think. And as like I said, we're 1 win away from guaranteeing Champions League football for next year, and 4 goals up in the Europa League semi-final. So I don't think there's too much of an issue to worry about in the next few games. Yes, we've got three league games in 7 days or whatever it is. As long as we win one of them and get a draw, we're in the top 4. Really, if we're either second, third, or fourth, they all come the same. I think the priority now should be, as you know, Joe, I preferred the FA Cup, but a trophy is a trophy.
Yeah.
I think we should prioritise Europa League now, and I think the season sort of finished now, and get one more win, get a trophy, and then on to next season.
Absolutely. And you've inspired newbie. You've inspired Kartik here. I'm doing an uncut on Saturday with the display name official host and making you call me that for the whole show, Joe. So you've inspired a few copycats and from in the comments. But to see us out, we have Roma obviously coming up in the semi-final. We're 4 goals ahead. It should be fine. But are you worried about resting players because they've obviously had a week off since the last game, and there are going to be a couple of days until it could be 30, like the longest stretch of games that people can have a break of this season. Do you think that we should hold on to? Do you think Bruno and Pogba should start tomorrow, or what way do you think it should work? Stuart, I'll go to you first. I think we should start with a good 11.
Well, we spoke about it last night actually, and we all pretty much agreed that the first half will be the tipping point. If we don't concede or we score, then the game's over. The interesting thing is we didn't know about this Liverpool game then. So I don't know now what Ollie will do. I don't know if it's changed his mindset or whether he's thought, fuck it, we'll just have to go with what I wanted to go. But the consensus was play a strong first half side, see how that pans out. And then if it's 0-0, obviously rest players. He's going to have to rest players, I would say. If the results, without doubt, I think he's going to have to rest some players, but I still think he'll probably go for the second half.
Stu, do you know who our next league game is?
It's Villa.
Villa away, is it?
I think it's Villa away, isn't it? Then we're home to Leicester, and at home to Liverpool, and then away to Fulham, or is it home to Fulham? I can't quite remember.
It's at home to Fulham. It's at home to Fulham.
It's at home to Fulham.
Yeah.
But so and Villa are they're no slouches. They're a difficult side. They're unpredictable. But then you go to Leicester, and anything can happen against Leicester. Yeah, I don't know. I think Ollie's probably, not knowing what to do. To be honest, this has been a curveball. We weren't expecting. We didn't know what we were going to have. We knew we were going to face sanctions of something. But I don't know. It's a tough one. I mean, I'm just trying to think, what would I do? And I'm probably with Connor. Really, I would maybe play. I don't know. I don't know what to do. It will be a difficult one. This Liverpool match completely alters. It just alters Ollie's plans.
Yeah. Well, I would say, for me, looking at it, I would say strong 45 minutes against Roma. Whether we go a goal up early or whether it's 0 at half time, and then at half time, just because to keep their legs going, to get them a bit of football playing and stuff like that, and then you have a strong lineup for the next 2 games afterwards. And then just play the kids from then on out. Ideally, when we're going to the final.
I agree. That's kind of what we were talking about before this started. So he's got a headache at the minute. He'll be scratching his noggin. Trying to decide what to do.
Absolutely. Andrew, for yourself.
So whether Ollie decides to make changes tomorrow just remains to be seen. I mean, the task of reaching the final is all but complete. I mean, it would be a major disaster if we don't reach it from our current position. I mean, the players will be full of confidence after last week. I mean, they'll be fully rested as well, as they didn't play Sunday. But I'd like to see some of the other players that haven't played, like Daniel James and even Mason Green, will get some more game time because he'll want to stake his claim to be in the starting 11 for the final. And also in goal as well, whether he'll decide to play De Gea or Henderson. I mean, Henderson hasn't played since the Leeds game, so it's whether he's going to stick with De Gea in the Europa League or give Henderson the nod. So, I mean, whether you play Pogba or not, I mean, I know he's on a booking from the first leg, so if he got another one, I think that would rule him out of the final. So I'd expect Bruno to start because Bruno just wants to play all the time. But if it's all going well from the first half, then take those players off and then just give some of the fringe players like Van der Beek, Daniel James, some more game time.
Yeah. Oh, Van der Beek, she's the forgotten man. Yeah. For yourself, what do you think what we should do, basically, for the coming games? Do you think you start the kids against Roma, or as we were saying, start strong at half and then go kids half time?
It's become a real issue now, hasn't it? Because playing Leicester and Liverpool in the space of 2 days, you lose both of them games. It's not looking good because no one wants to finish third or fourth. Let's be totally honest. Nobody wants to finish third or fourth. He'll get criticism for that as well. So they've made his job 10 times harder. But hopefully, if they get their wish and the Glazers start selling, which they haven't started yet, happens, they might be happy. What would I do? This is probably the only criticism I have of Ole. I don't think he rotates his squad good enough. And he will have someone like Daniel James out in the cold for 3 months and all of a sudden bring him in, playing 3 games on the trot, and then you won't see him again for a month. But he's gonna go with a strong team, which I think is a silly idea. I think he should go with a weak team. If Roma could beat us 4 or 5-0, we don't deserve to be in the final, even if that's playing your second string players, because they should be good enough. And you have 5 subs, if I'm not wrong, in the Europa League. So if it is something like 2-0 to Roma and you are worried, you can make 5 subs and completely change the game. So I would go with people like Van der Beek, Daniel James, Brandon Williams. I think our other players need a rest. We need to be able to beat Villa and beat Leicester, and then we can tackle the Liverpool game after that. I would go with kids. That's what I would do. But I don't see Ole doing that at all.
Oh, okay. Callum, I'm coming to you on actually a comment you just put in there with top 4 now. I think if we come fourth, I still think we'll come second, and Chelsea win the champion. No, and Arsenal win the Europa League. Won't that mean that we get knocked out? Oh no, because 5 teams can't qualify. No, sorry, I think I'm just being mad. Sorry, I think you are right. It's 5 team maximum can go from a country.
I think
so
it's
even
5,
yes,
5 teams maximum.
Yeah. So if we come in the top 4 automatically, yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, I can't quite remember that rule now, to be completely honest. But yeah, so I know it is top 4 now. Champions League winners, if they were in. I mean, I think Chelsea and City will both be fine. I think they'll both get in the top 4 anyway, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, City obviously will. Yeah, second, third, and fourth do the same thing. You know, you've not won the league. So I'm not really fussed about league position as long as it's the top 4. The trophy would be a really good thing. I think, you know, top 3 and a trophy would be progress for me. We've had more points than last season. Yeah, it'd be nice to finish second, but at the end of the day, it's the same prize at the end of the season and 3rd or 4th. So I think the priority really should be the Europa League. The joy that we do have is that we are 4-0 up. Well, 4 goals up, I should say. So I think he probably will start. Now with the fixture congestion, I think Ollie probably won't look at it as a fan. He'll look at it as a manager, and I think he will probably go for mainly his first team. He might maybe play like the likes of Matic instead of McTominay, and he might maybe play Tuanzebe or Baye instead of Lindelof. But he might rest Pogba as well. But other than that, I can't really see many other changes. You know, Aston Villa, I think we beat them. That's top 4 done. So I don't. If we didn't make the final and didn't make top 4 now, then I think that'd be Ollie. And I don't think that'd happen. So I think it'll be a boring 0-0, 1-0 against Roma. I think we'll beat Villa like a 2-1. We'll draw with Leicester, and then after that, I'm not really fussed.
I think after that we're in top 4 anyway. I think it's confirmed.
Yeah, exactly. And I think those amount of points would probably keep us about 4 points ahead of Leicester anyway. In fact, the Liverpool game is technically our game in hand, so you know, we could end up improving our lead on Leicester. So I'm just not too fussed about the league at this point. I think we'll be fine. I think a win and a draw against Leicester and Villa would do us. It goes back to the protest last week. Nobody cared about the Liverpool game, and I don't think many will be that bothered about the Liverpool game next Thursday. It wouldn't actually surprise me if there was another protest organised. And if that happens, it's another rearrangement, and it wouldn't surprise me if there was another protest organised for that rearrangement as well.
They won't rearrange that, Carl. If it's off, that'll be it. They won't rearrange it again.
I think if that was to happen, they'd probably just award 3 points to Liverpool.
Yeah, they would. Yeah.
I don't think that the fan base are that bothered. I think they're obviously protesting for the greater good. So, I think we'll be fine. Go all out for the Europa League and just secure top 4 at this point.
Absolutely. Carter got a comment in before I could. This is exactly what I was going to say word for word. You boring bastards. We're winning 5-0 tomorrow and spanking the Europa League final and finish second with an unbeaten end to the season. Absolutely, Carter. Word for word, that was what I was going to say. And Jockey 551 needs to win in case we get deducted points. We're not getting deducted points now because
we didn't break any legal rules, so we won't get deducted anything.
Yeah, we didn't. You're right. Yeah, it was. We didn't break an illegal rule.
Stuart said we're winning the Europa League and I'm going to the Super Cup. Absolutely, Stuart. Absolutely.
Where are you, Joe?
What?
Where are you, Joe? In Ireland?
I am in Southern Ireland. Why?
Okay. No, I meant like where in Southern Ireland. I didn't know if it was too far from Belfast because that's where Super Cup is, isn't it?
Oh God, is it in?
I think it's at Windsor Park.
Why? What the hell is wrong with Dublin?
Nothing wrong with Dublin. I'm just saying.
That's fine. That's fine. No. I'm not hurt. Northern Ireland gets the Super Cup. We didn't want it anyway. We were offering. We said we didn't want it. Okay, it's fine.
Declan Rice will be playing in the centre midfield as well.
Yeah, great. That'll be great. I cannot wait for that day. You bunch of bastards. But yeah, guys. That's been our show. Great. Make sure to hashtag this. I don't think there's enough letters in Twitter to get that. Hashtag Europa League Champions of the World. Good night, fellas. Thanks so much, Cardigan. And thanks, everyone. Everyone in the comments, please subscribe to the channel. Please follow the boys here. We'll be back for a post-match reaction tomorrow evening. And we're going to have a whole heap of shows is it next week to cover all the games. So make sure to stick with us for that. But the best way to find us is to subscribe to the channel. It's going to be so fucking busy. Jesus Christ. Yeah, well, I wish I supported fucking Cheltenham Town or something. Like one show a week would be far easier. Less views, but it'd be.
Are we doing a preview for every game?
For every game, I think we should leave our dismay to the post-match chat we have. So
my missus is on nights next week, so she's a respiratory specialist.
So you might be able to have a cheeky beer.
So I might be all right. Oh yeah, fucking! I've got some more. I've had some new stuff coming.
Is she a respiratory specialist because she took your bread away, or could you take her bread away?
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, nice. Good one. Yeah. Magic is still there. Pleasure. Please tell me that was your opening line.
My opening line. What was it?
Oh, I'm gonna put you on fucking.
I'm in trouble now.
You can make one up. I'm sure she doesn't watch.
Fuck. Do you know something? I can't fucking remember. It was years ago. It was 20 odd years ago. Do you know what? I think I was probably pissed. Well, I know I was pissed. There's no probably about it. I know I was pissed. Because that's the only reason I could ever talk to women was when I was pissed. Because I can't dance or anything like that. I think I probably told her I was a footballer and probably made some bullshit up about that.
Well,
I can't quite remember.
Is that your dating advice then for the world? Just tell them you're a footballer and then see what goes from there.
Well, my dating advice for the world is if you look like me, you've got to take anything you can to stack the cards in your favour.
Fair play. Really. Yeah, that's to all the romantics out there. Lie.
I'm punching above my weight. Let's play that way.
Yeah. Let's see this. Joe's been using that on Tinder. Thanks so much, guys. I'm so busy next week. I'm actually back for a host show. Yeah, maybe. Stu, you get a lot of love from this. So I'm getting a lot of hate just for existing. Joe needs a good chat up line. He's desperate to know. Come on. Yeah, I am. I was desperate to know. Who else has been in there? Save it for uncut. But yeah, guys, that's been our show. As I said, thanks so much for joining us. Stu will be back next week for his love advice on how to seal the deal. Is what he'll be covering next week. So we'll see you back there for then. So have a lovely evening, and we'll talk to you then. Good night, goodbye, and good luck.